Welcome back to Digital Rage. I'm Jeff, the producer here at Phish Tank Digital. Phish Tank is our new cybersecurity marketing company. We have an unfair advantage of having cybersecurity experts join our team, validate our content, and most importantly, how to generate leads for mid-market cybersecurity vendors. So no more of me, let's dig in.
Okay, so for this deep dive, we've pulled together your sources, and they focus on a really fascinating intersection. Mm-hmm. We're talking about the super technical world of enterprise cybersecurity on one hand, and the often misunderstood world of digital marketing on the other.
Right. Two worlds that don't always speak the same language.
Exactly. So our mission here is to tackle a big question. How do you actually market these highly complex, sometimes abstract cybersecurity and SaaS? That's SaaS solutions.
To an audience that is, by its very nature, skeptical.
Incredibly skeptical, yeah. Super technical, super savvy. We're talking about the enterprise buyer, but really the cybersecurity buyer specifically.
The ones who can spot fluff from a mile away.
100%. And the subject of our dive is a company called Phish Tank Digital. They're an agency that works only in this space. Cybersecurity, SaaS, infosec brands.
So they're specialists.
Total specialists. And we need to unpack their strategy because they claim to bridge that huge gap between the cutting-edge tech and marketing that actually delivers results.
And what's so interesting right out of the gate is how the sources frame the problem. The cybersecurity marketing landscape today is just... it's more crowded than it has ever been.
It's incredibly noisy.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just have the best firewall anymore or, the most advanced XDR platform. If your messaging is unclear, if your content is generic, if your SEO is basically non-existent, even the most groundbreaking technology gets completely lost.
Right, and the sources really emphasize why that generic marketing fails. They call it the fluff factor and that kind of stuff. It just falls completely flat with a technical audience because they're being hit with it all day, every day.
And you're not just competing for clicks. I think that's a key point.
No, it's something more.
You are competing for trust. That's the real currency. Yeah. If you waste a technical buyer's time with marketing jargon, or worse, with something that's just plain wrong.
Oof. Yeah.
You don't just lose a potential sale. You lose all credibility. Instantly.
And that trust deficit is everything. The sources point to this key audience, the enterprise buyers, the technical teams.
And especially the CISOs, the CISOs.
The CISOs, right. They are literally professional risk managers. That's their job. So they look at marketing with just extreme skepticism.
Yeah, so isn't just, reading your brochure. They're evaluating your fundamental competence to protect their entire organization.
That's a great way to put it.
So if your marketing feels weak or shallow, they just assume your product's architecture is weak and shallow too.
So the goal, according to the sources, is to make your brand visible, credible, and irresistible. But that credibility piece, how do you actually earn that?
That's the million-dollar question.
And that is the absolute hinge point for this whole deep dive. Any agency can promise to make you more visible. But how does Phish Tank Digital claim to solve this specific, deeply rooted trust problem? This isn't just about a better logo.
No, it's about a better understanding.
It is. And this is where it gets really interesting. Their core selling point, what they call their unfair advantage, is that they are not just another marketing agency that, learned a few security buzzwords.
Yeah.
They embed actual cybersecurity intelligence expertise right into the marketing engine from the ground up.
So wait, you mean they have actual security practitioners on the marketing team?
That's exactly it. And that's what inoculates them against that skepticism we were just talking about. The agency was founded by a veteran digital strategist, Jeff Beyer, but the really unique part is who else is on the team guiding the work.
Okay, I'm listening.
The sources call out two specific roles that just completely redefine what you think of when you hear marketing agency.
Right.
First, they work with a former director of a global threat intelligence center.
Hold on, say that again. A director of a global threat intelligence center.
Yep.
So someone whose job was tracking, nation-state hackers and analyzing zero-day exploits.
The highest level. And now they're guiding SEO strategy. It sounds like a huge leap, right? But think about what that perspective brings to the table.
It changes the entire game. It means your content strategy isn't just based on what's trending on Google. It's based on actual real-time defense priorities.
Exactly.
When they write an article or a white paper, that former threat intel director is ensuring every detail is precise, it's timely, and it actually speaks to a practitioner who lives in that threat matrix every single day.
They know it keeps a CISO up at night.
They literally do. And they can use that insight to frame a solution as an absolute necessity, not just another nice-to-have tool.
And that's not all. That expertise is paired with a former product manager from a major cybersecurity vendor, someone who worked on things like MDR or XDR platforms.
Well, that's the other half of the puzzle. A former product manager is, they're arguably the perfect translator for technical marketing. They know exactly how a technical buyer evaluates features. They know the checklists and comparison charts that CISOs use. And crucially, they know which buzzwords are just fluff and which ones signal real, validated ROI.
So they can cut through the noise because they helped create the original signal.
Precisely. It allows the agency to market based on provable value, not just, vague promises of better security.
So when they claim to have an unfair advantage, it's really rooted in that combination. It's deep, battle-tested cyber expertise mixed with top-tier digital marketing. They speak the customer's language because they were the customer and the architect.
Okay, so they have the expertise, but that's only one piece of it. You still have to deliver growth in a structured, repeatable way.
Right. And what really stood out to me in the sources is how they package their services. It's not just a menu of options. They're organized into these very specialized, structured systems for growth.
The systemic approach.
Yeah.
That's smart. That appeals directly to the engineering mindset of their clients.
I thought so too.
In security, everything is about structure and frameworks, right? We rely on NIST or MITRE for defense. So applying that same systematic thinking to generating leads, it just makes sense.
And it creates transparency. The sources suggest that having these predefined systems allows them to be much clearer about scope and cost, which immediately helps fight that skepticism people have about agency pricing.
So they're not just selling services, they're selling a methodology, a roadmap.
Yeah.
It's almost like a security framework, but for marketing.
It is. So let's unpack these 4 systems they offer. The first one is the go-to-market system.
Okay.
This one is aimed squarely at cybersecurity startups or maybe an established company that's launching a totally new product. The whole goal is to build that foundational strategy, the core messaging.
The basics.
The critical basics, yeah. And then run the launch campaigns to get those first few really important early adopter customers.
And that's where that threat intel director's expertise would be front and center, I imagine.
Absolutely.
Because the entire strategy has to be built on real security concepts like zero trust or specific compliance needs, right, from day one.
Right. So once you have that foundation, you need to scale. That brings us to system 2, the lead generation system.
The workhorse.
Totally. This is for the established SaaS security platforms. The goal here is pure, reliable scale, delivering a constant pipeline of qualified sales leads by targeting the right people on search and social.
And that's where the former product manager shines. They're making sure the landing page copy, the ads, all of it. It focuses on the exact technical pain points and ROI that gets a buyer to actually click request a demo instead of just closing the tab.
Then you have the third system, which is about reputation and dominance. It's called the visibility and exposure system.
That's for the big players.
Yeah, this is for the large enterprise vendors who want to be seen as the definitive thought leader. So it's all about deep content, strategic PR, authority-building SEO.
Moving beyond just getting leads to actually shaping the market conversation.
You got it. They want their clients to be the ones quoted by industry analysts, the ones people search for by name, basically making them the mentors of the security world.
And the last one?
The fourth one is the build your own system. It's more of a flexible package. It's for companies that maybe already have a marketing team but need to plug a specific gap, without buying a whole prepackaged system.
So it's augmentation. That makes sense. When you look at them all together, you can see a really clear, logical progression.
Yeah, it maps to a company's life cycle.
It maps directly to the maturity stages of a cyber company, from launch to growth to market dominance.
Yeah.
It ensures the marketing grows up right alongside the technology.
So if we dive a little deeper into the actual day-to-day tactics, the sources list some really specific services that show how technical their focus is. This isn't just generic stuff.
Okay, let's hear it.
So they're not just doing SEO. They do AI-Adaptive cybersecurity SEO. It's not about ranking for broad terms. It's about hitting those super specific, high-intent searches that only a real practitioner would type in.
Like what? Well, give me an example.
Like MITRE 18CK mapping for container security or zero trust implementation guide for financial services.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Only a qualified buyer is searching for that. The hobbyist isn't.
Exactly. And their content marketing for cybersecurity is the same idea. It's built to earn trust with CISOs and technical buyers, which is a totally different skill than writing for, consumers. It has to be accurate and it can't be condescending.
And then there's this one, which I think is a huge challenge most people don't think about, graphic design for cybersecurity.
Ew, this is a good one.
It's not about making a pretty chart. It's about being able to accurately visualize something incredibly complex, like a security architecture diagram, or how data flows through an XDR system.
And it has to be right for two different audiences at the same time.
Exactly. It needs to be clear enough for an executive to understand the risk, but detailed and accurate enough that a security architect doesn't immediately dismiss it as wrong.
A generic designer would make it look nice, but their experts make sure that data flow diagram is actually, correct.
A fundamental difference.
And even their approach to nurturing leads is different. Their email marketing isn't just a bunch of sales pitches. It's focused on delivering relevant threat intelligence and solutions.
So they're using that threat intel expertise to provide value first.
Value first. They send emails that people actually want to open because they might learn something. And only then do they introduce the product that solves the problem.
And of course, they handle the big scaling tools too, like targeted PPC advertising on Google and LinkedIn. But even there, the targeting is just smarter because they actually understand the buyer personas. They know an infosec analyst cares about different things than a procurement manager does.
So who is this all really for? The sources get pretty specific about their ideal clients.
It sounds like it's for companies that are already serious about their tech.
It is. They target established SaaS security platforms that need that scaled lead gen to keep growing. Also, B2B infosec solution providers who are looking to expand into, really competitive markets like the US or Europe.
So companies that need to scale big but can't afford to lose credibility while doing it.
Exactly. And what I found really interesting was the mention of cybersecurity e-commerce. It's a service for securely selling cybersecurity products and subscriptions online. That's a niche within a niche. You need to understand the distribution, the licensing, the secure payments. It's complex.
So when you tie it all back, the main message is that their entire approach is tailored to a company's business stage, from a startup with a great idea all the way to a global enterprise vendor.
Right. It's all designed so that a company's marketing performs just as powerfully as its technology, so they stop leaving money on the table.
So if we try to synthesize all this, what's the big takeaway?
I think for me, it's that in a market like cybersecurity, credibility is everything. It's the only currency that matters. And Phish Tank Digital's model is built from the ground up to earn that credibility by putting real cyber intelligence from former threat directors and product managers at the absolute core of their marketing.
It's a complete shift from the traditional agency model. It's the difference between hiring a marketing generalist versus hiring a specialist who could probably sit in on your internal C-suite meetings and contribute meaningfully.
100%.
They're selling structure, a proven method, a roadmap for generating demand that has the same kind of reliability you'd expect from a security framework. The whole goal is to make sure your communication is as precise and powerful as the code you're selling.
And that combination of transparency and deep expertise is what it takes to convince a buyer who is paid to be skeptical. Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to think about. If we know that cybersecurity buyers are so skeptical of marketing fluff, what specific details in your own company's content, or maybe the content you read every day, signals that it's genuinely expert-backed versus just generic sales copy?
That's a good question. Where else could embedding a former threat intelligence director be the key that unlocks trust in a super crowded, highly technical market? Think about the specific language, the scenarios, the level of detail you look for, and ask yourself if the content you create or consume actually reflects that same depth of knowledge.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into marketing to the mentors. We encourage you to look at your own content sources through that lens, necessary expertise versus what could be dangerous generality. Until next time, stay curious.
Reach out to us at jbuyer.com for comments and questions. Follow us at Buyer Company on social media. And if you'd be so kind, please rate and review us in your podcast app.